Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic. I'm going to say a very quick well done to the Lionesses, the England women's football team who got through the semi-final of the European Championships last night in as harum-scarum and last-ditch manner as they got through the quarter-final a few days before. So I dare say most of Europe was rather hoping that they would lose, but I wasn't, and I was thrilled. It was very exciting. Well done, girls. Now, we are going to be looking at a puzzle called Krazy Kropki today with a very unusual multiplication rule. I will explain it when we get there. Dave Bren says it's his first puzzle, and obviously we believe him, but it seems an intriguing idea. I'll explain what's happening in that in a moment. Don't forget that on Patreon, we haven't yet got solution videos out for last month's Patreon, but they will be coming. There's also, of course, there's so much other stuff. Connections videos. Just remembering the day 2 days ago when my camera froze, so the connections video is going to be a bit of a joke for that day, but not for the other days, maybe. And there's crossword videos and Sven's Sudoku pad you can get to in the links under the video, as well as all of our apps, which do feature domino Sudoku, but not really like this one. There's also Fog of War Sudoku and The Worms by James Sinclair and Marty Sears, at least. Now, do check those out on the links under the video, but the first link is to this puzzle, Krazy Kropki, and I'm going to try and explain the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. We're placing 1 to 9 in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. So far, so normal. All digits in a cage are summed together and treated as one value for the purpose of Kropki relationships. So we add up the digits in that cage to get to the point of the Kropki relationship for this black dot. Kropki is the Polish for dots, I believe. Now, each 3x3 box contains a unique multiplier. The value of the multiplier is the digit in the upper left cell of that box. For example, if row 1 column 4 is a 5, the multiplier for this box, box 2, is 5. And cage totals separated by a black Krazy Kropki dot are in a ratio of x to 1. Where x is the multiplier for the 3x3 box containing that dot. So if this was a 5, this would be, well, now let's take a cage where, well, okay, let's say if this was a 5, the ratio between these two cage totals would be 1 to 5, as it would between that one and that one. If a Krazy Kropki dot lies on the border between two boxes, like this one or this one, the player must determine which of the two box multipliers to use for that dot. For example, if the multiplier for box 5 was a 3 and for box 6 was a 7, and if there was a Krazy Kropki dot between these two boxes, you'd have to decide whether to have a 3 to 1 or a 7 to 1 ratio. Cage totals separated by a white dot are consecutive. That's a sort of much more normal dot. Okay, well, these are multipliers, and the multiplier value is determined by the digit in the top left corner of the box in which the black dot falls. And if it falls between boxes, it could be either of the black dots. I'm looking at that one. Okay, well, I mean, I get that. It is a bit crazy, I suppose. Give it a try on the link under the video. You can see how long it took me. If it's like the last couple of days, it'll be a long time. Let's get cracking. So, right, I mean, my attention is drawn to a sequence of black dots, and I suspect it shouldn't be, because I don't think this really matters, does it? It doesn't know. I mean, they're not single digits. I shouldn't be highlighting those cells. I should be highlighting all of those cells if I'm interested in this sequence of black dots in row 7. Okay, I don't know what that means. Okay, there's a number of cages. There's a number of boxes with 2 black dots wholly contained within them. So I'm thinking about those black dots, and those black dots. It's better for these ones where we're looking at single cells. No. No, maybe the first thing to determine is where is 1 going to be? Yes, we might have a chance at that. Right, and I think that's why we've got the given 1. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure about this, but my guess here is that we can determine something about 1s as the multiplier. So, right, okay, here's the deal. Any cage, any box in which there are two single cell cages connected cannot have 1 as its multiplier, because those 2 digits would have to be the same. That's so obvious now that it's a miracle I hadn't thought of it before. And that's going to rule out this box even, that one, and that one. Now these 2 are ruled out from having, and that one, from having 1 as their multiplier by where 1 is, given in the grid. So one of these 2 has 1 as its multiplier. Actually, there's nothing even stopping the black dots that are on the edges of these boxes from using a 1 multiplier. But that's interesting. So I'm going to go back to trying to get excited about, well, let's try all of these cages. Boxes, not cages, boxes. Don't these all have to be fairly low? No, that one doesn't. Okay, what I'm now seeing is that if you were to put a 1 here, yeah, it's so weird. I'd been thinking that maybe, like, imagine this number was a 2. I don't know if it is, it might be. What would this be? The 2 would be the multiplier in this box. And this cage would have to have a value of either 2 times 2 or 2 divided by 2. So it would be 1 or 4. And I had actually been originally thinking it would always be the square of the number above, which is clearly not true. So that could be any digit. That could be a 9 if that was a 1. But in these other boxes where there are 2, this box doesn't really count. Okay, let's just look at boxes. This box doesn't count because although there's 1 ratio there, which could have a 1 in, there's another one here, but it's using a 2-cell cage. It's less interesting. Although it is using a 2-cell cage with the multiplier itself. Now, anyway, let's think about these 2 boxes, boxes 4 and 5, because they have 2 black dots connecting 2 single-cell cages each. That means there are 2 ratios using single digits of the multiplier in the box. And I'm going to say that that multiplier cannot be 5 or anything greater. If you had a 5 as the multiplier here, one of these cages could be 5, 1, but the other one has no possible fill. And the same is true with 6, 7, 8 or 9. So this digit is 2, 3 or 4. We know it's not 1 because we've worked that out before. The 1 is down here somewhere. This one, I think it's the same. It doesn't change just because the indexing cell is on a black dot. It is still 2, 3 or 4. If it's 4, there are 2 possible pairs. There are 2 possible black dot pairs, and they are 1, 4 and 2, 8. That means this one can't be 4 in this box, because 4 would repeat in the box if you put 4 there and 1, 2, 4, 8 here. So that's not 4. What about this one? If this is 4, that digit is a 1, and that's a 2, 8 pair. So that can be a 4. I think we're going to have to think about these a bit harder. I don't know why. So say this is a 2. Oh, actually that's quite powerful. If that's a 2, that uses up 1, 2 and 2, 4 as ratios of 2. These digits would have to be 3, 6 and 4, 8 in some order. If that is, oh right, if that is 3, this is impossible. I think that's impossible. You could put 2, 6 in one of these black dots, but if you've used 3 in the box already, the other one can't be 1, 3 or 3, 9. Right, that is a 2. It shouldn't have taken me 6.5 minutes to work that out, and it has. Never mind. Okay, this is a 3 or a 4. Oh, these digits, I just worked them out. They're a 3, 6 pair and a 4, 8 pair. Everything else in the box is 1, 5, 7 or 9. Let's type that correctly, otherwise we're going to get in trouble later. Right, 3 or 4. So this cell is either the square of that digit or it's that digit divided by itself. So it's 1 or 9. Now, if that is 3, 9, this is a 2, 6 pair, and we would know the order. If that is 3, 1, this is still a 2, 6 pair, and we would know the order. And if this is 4, 1, this is a 2, 8 pair, and we know the order. That's always a 2. This digit is a 6 or an 8 now. And up here, right, the only way this isn't a 1 is if this digit is small enough to be squared into there. In which case, now that we've used, well, almost used 1 and definitely used 2, this would have to be a 3 in that case. So I can't pencil mark this cell, but if it was a 3, if this was the square of the cell above, it would be a 9. And if it's not, it's a 1. And now we've got a 1, 9 pair in the column. It does, I mean, it makes such sense, but it takes some doing. It takes some thinking. This is a lovely idea, Dave. Right, that 1, 9 pair is looking at that cell and saying that's not a 1, but we have to put a 1 in the top corner. Did I mention that it was obvious to me that when it said each 3 by 3 box contains a unique multiplier, which is in the upper left cell, that meant this was going to be a set of the digits 1 to 9. I mean, that's basically what that rule means. Maybe that needs a step of logic to explain, and I'm sorry if I don't. Somebody did accuse me recently of not explaining my logic steps carefully enough, and maybe I didn't there. But if these multipliers are all unique, then the digits are all unique, and that means there's 1 of each in those 9 cells. And I have been working on that assumption, maybe without telling you. Anyway, 1 there, 2 there, 3 or 4 there. This could be anything. This could be high. Well, it can't be 9 now because of the 1, 9 pair. Now, what's going on in box 2? Because I've been planning to think about that for a while and not really done it. Okay, the relationship between these two cages is essentially the same as between these two, because this digit either divides by itself, well, it doesn't do that because this would have to sum to 1. So it must multiply by itself to give a square here. That digit squared gives this. Well, it could be 3 squared to give 9. It could be 4 squared to give 16. And it couldn't be anything else. We've used 1 and 2 in these corners. So that is 3 or 4. This digit is now 5, 6, 7 or 8. This total in this cage is 9 or 16. Oh, this pair has either a ratio of 3 not using the digit 3 or 4 not using the digit 4, and therefore it's either 6-2 or 8-2 in that order. The symmetry, look at the symmetry. Like, imagine a line of symmetry there, a reflective line of symmetry. I hadn't realized quite how much boxes, or the essential elements of boxes 2, 4 and 5 were being symmetrical, the dots in them in a way. Well, I don't know, maybe they're not. But anyway, we get this run of 2s from this conclusion. Now, has that changed this? This either adds up to 9 without using 3, 2 and 6. So it would be 4, 5 or 1, 8. Or it adds up to 16, which would be 9, 7. That's less helpful than I was hoping. This 1 sees those cells, makes there be a 1 in one of those. I think no, hang on, I haven't plucked all the low-hanging fruit because this is another indexing cell. And now this cannot be 1, 2, 3 or 4. So, well, let's start from the fact that it's at least 5. I guess the relationship between this yellow cell and this red cage is exactly the same as up here. The red cage is going to have to be a square. Obviously, the red cage isn't the yellow cell divided by itself, because that would be 1. So the red cage must be the yellow cell multiplied by itself. This dot may be the last one we're going to consider that falls wholly within a box. Anyway, it is true. Red is yellow squared. And I think that's going to reduce us to one option here. That is absolutely right. We can just get to 25, the square of 5, and we can't approach 36 or 49 or 64 or 81. So that's a 5, and this is a 9, 8, 7 triple, and that is some traction in the puzzle. A little bit. I don't know, it's probably going to peter out, but now I could write 2, 3, 4, 6 in the other cells. We've used the 5. Every other index cell in this puzzle, we've used the 5, so it goes from there. Every other index cell in this puzzle is 6, 7, 8 or 9. I think it's worth colouring those just because they've got to be different from each other and I want to keep track of that. Now, this black dot, okay, it's either using this ratio of 6, 7, 8 or 9 or this ratio, and this cage always adds up to 25. Well, this is obviously a factor, not a multiple of 25, and the only factors 25 has as digits are 1 or 5. Well, it's not 1, or one of these two would have to have a ratio of 25. It's 5. And annoyingly, that uses this multiplier and doesn't tell us anything about this one. It's a little annoying. It's not massively annoying. 5 can't be there. 5 in this box is in one of those two cells. And the trail of 5s peters out there. And now we've still got this box. Oh, right, we've got this relationship to figure out. And this has a ratio of either 1 or 5. Well, it doesn't have 5 because this cage can't add up to 1 or 25. So this is using a ratio of 1. These two cells essentially add up to 5. They can't be 1, 4, and they are 2, 3. And now 3, 6 is not a pair here because of Sudoku. And 4, 8 is not a pair here. This is very neat. That can't be 2 or 3. Okay, I've got more ratios to consider. Oh, hang on. Can that be 4 and 9, 7? What happens to these? They become 6 and 8. Yeah, I don't know what happens to those. Okay, it can be a 4 still there. Right, I've got to start considering this T ratio. I don't know what to think about it yet. This digit by Sudoku is 4, 6, 7, 8 or 9. The ratio is either 3, 4, 6, 7, 8 or 9. Well, okay. That's interesting because we're obviously not going to have this is not going to divide by one of those to give this. because the biggest digit you could have is 9 divided by 3. This cage would have to add up to 3. That's nonsense. So it's the product of either those two cells or those two cells that gives the cage total here. Now, what's the minimum product of those two cells? 6 times 4, if they were the minimal digits that could go there, would be 24. That would put 987 here, and that would break that cell. Actually, 6 and 4 there would break that cell. So as soon as you don't use 6 and 4, if you're using those two and multiplying them together, you've got too big a number to go in a cage, because 24 is the maximum. So we're not using those two. We're multiplying these two green cells to give this orange total. And this can't be 9 because the minimum would be 27 in orange. We've worked out that it can't be 24 here, 987, it breaks that cell, so this can't be 8. We're multiplying the two greens to give orange here. I mean, this is very clever. Oh, there's that 1-9 pair, stops this being a 9. So one of these two has got a 9 in. Not interesting. Okay, well, the trouble is there are once we've reduced it to multiplying the two greens, there are some possibilities. This could be 21, 18, 16 or 12 as a total, and that's quite a lot of possibilities. Well, or is it? Because this corner cell, it's going to take out some of the possibilities, isn't it? If that's a 3, that's a 6. Okay, let's start with it being a 4. If this is a 4, this can't be 6 or 7. This would also be 4. And this would add up to 16, and it couldn't use 4, 8, or 2. It would have to use one even digit, and this would be 6. Do you know what? It's not quite possible. Right, let me explain it. If this was a 4, sorry, if this digit was a 4 and that was a 4, 16 would be the product that would have to go in here. Now we've got 3 digits there, and we've used, if that's a 4, we've used 8 in this cage. So we've used 4, 8 in this box. We've used 4, 8 and 2. These 3 digits therefore can have a maximum of one even number, but they must have that even number, because if they were all odd, they'd add to an odd total, and we need to make them add to 16. So we would use 6 and either, well, we couldn't use 3 then, because if we put 6 there, that's a 3. So it's 6 and 2 odd digits, but we can't use 6, 1, 9 because that breaks this cell. So that is not a 4. That was the only way this could be a 4. That is a 3. It doesn't tell me whether this is a 1 or a 9. It does tell me that this is a 6. It also tells me that this is a 4, which has to be different from that 3. This is an 8 because this ratio is now 4. This pair is now adding up to 16. So that we've got the ratio of 4 being used. 4, 9, 7, right? That's not 9 or 7. This isn't either. That's now a 6, 8 pair in pink, and this digit has to be a 7. And this one a 9. And we are cooking with gas now. Right, 7 there means this can't be a 7. Actually, it means that can't be a 7 too. Now I've got a 4, 6 pair in the row, and that's 8 or 9. Now I know I'm multiplying these two greens to get orange. It's either 12 or 18. Now, if that's a 4, then where does 4 go in this box? It has to get in the box. And the other two digits would add up to 8 and would be 1 and 7. That is possible. If that's a 6, this adds up to 18, not using 2, 6 or 3. Not using 1, because then it would need to have 189, and that would break this cell again. 4, 5, 9. No, yes, if that's a 6, we're adding up to 18. No, we can't use 5. We can't do it. 4, 7, 7. That's a repeat. Right, I didn't get that very clear, but weirdly, 18, which has very many more ways of being made up in 3 cells, is less possible than 12. And the reason, let me explain it again. If this was a 6, this orange cell cage adds up to 18. But we can't use 2, 3, 5, or 6 in it. 5 is there as well. So we would have 1, 4, 7, 8, 9. We can't use both 1 and 9. Nine, 8, 7, 4, 1, I'm just proving this the other way around, adds up to 29. To get to 18, we'd have to take out 11 from 1, 4, 7, 8, 9. That would be 4, 7. It would have to be 1, 8, 9, and that breaks that cell. Right, that is not a 6, that is a 4. This adds up to 12 and has a 4 in it now by Sudoku. It is 1, 4, 7 because we need a low digit of some sort. And now that's a 9, square of that. That's a 1. Actually, that has been obvious for absolutely ages. I'm so sorry. That was probably a much easier way of going about this. Anyway, there we go. Sorry, that digit has been a write-in ever since this wasn't 2, 3, or 4. Numpty. Right, 9 there, 8 here. This is not known. We can't have 9 there anymore. 1, 4, 7, 9, 8, 5. Everything else in the row is 2, 3, or 6. That is a quadruple here. Actually, 4 is looking across the board at a 6 there. Two, 3, 4, 6. Can we do anything in this column? Yes, a bit. This one can't. Look, in the top row, we've got a 6, 8 pair and 4, 7, 9. I'm going to pencil mark it. You can't stop me. This one now can't be 2 or 3. That was actually, I was just getting excited about the corner cell being reduced to 2. But lots of the puzzle has been. Oh, I'm getting overexcited about the wrong things. 2, 3, 6, 4. 5 is somewhere up there, and 9. These are from 1, 8, 7. That can't be a 1 apparently, so that's 7 or 8. This is 1, 7 or 8. Okay, it's going to be this little. I can actually take out all the colour everywhere. Why not? Let's get rid of the colour. It did its job. Right. What's going on down here? This digit in this column is 3, 5, 6, or 7. This black dot ratio is either 7 to 1 or 1 to 1. Now, if it was 7 to 1, you can't divide that. You would have to multiply it. This would have to add up to at least 21. That is not happening. So the ratio between blue and grey here is 1 to 1. So this cage adds up to this total. It can't be 3 because we can't use a 2 in this column. It can't be 5 because this cage can't use a 4 or a 2. It could be 6 if that's a 5, 1 pair. If it was 7, this can't use 2, 4, or 6. There's no low even digit that can go in this cage. Isn't that weird? So this is a 6, and this is a 5, 1 pair, and we've basically finished all the black dot work. Have we? I think we have. I think we're doing Sudoku from now on. Is that okay with you? Right, a 1, 5 pair is looking at the top and we get a 3. Oh, we've got this white ordinary Kropki dot to deal with at some point. 3 comes out of those cells. Let's keep looking up this column. 1, 5, 2, 6, 3. Well, this digit on the white dot is 4, 7, 8, or 9. On this side of the white dot, we've got 3 or 5. It can't be 7 because of those. Well, this has to be a 4. And that makes this a 7, this a 4, this a 1. This is 8 or 9 in the column, but it's clearly not 8 in the row. So we're getting some things done again. That's not a 6. That, no, I was going to say that is a 6, but I don't know. That's a 1, 5, 7, 8 quad, so this is a 4 in the row. There's a 4 in one of those cells in this column, so that's not 4. 2, 3, 6, 4. I still think this column for some reason is going to be key. I'm sure I'm wrong about that, never mind. 5, 8 pair, looking at that, makes that a 2, so we get 1. Now we get 5 in the final column. We've used 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is 7, 8 or 9. That is 1 or 7. Yeah, I don't know. It's not the all-powerful thing I thought it was. Let's look at column 8. 1, 4, 5, 9, 7, 8. Right. We've got 2, 3, and 6. We've only got one place for 2, as a matter of fact, there. These others are from 3 and 6. That's given me a 2, 3, 6 triple. It's finally telling me there's only one place for 1 in this box. Well, not finally, but that was useful. It's finished it's finished the top of the final column. That 2, 3, 6, we need a 7. There it goes. 8 is looking across here. That's a 5. This is 5 in the central box. This is a 1, 7 pair that aren't resolved. There is an X-wing on 7s. That 5, yeah, I can just finish column 4 in a normal way. Oh, that given 1 has fixed 5 and 1. I could have done that ages ago. That 7 sorts out 7 and 8. Don't know. Right, this box needs 1, 5 and 6. I can do all of those. Remember this 3, 6 pair down here. Now I've resolved my 7s. This is 4 and 8. This is 9 and 5. That's not allowed to be 4, so 4's in the corner. How come these aren't done? 7 and 8 in this row. They are done. Now box 3 is complete. If I don't mistype things, that gives me row 5. And most of row 6. This is an 8 in the corner. 8 divided by 8 is 1. That's good. And unsurprising. Down this column, we've got a 3 and a 9. That's fixed the 2s and 3s over this side. And then we get 6 here and 2 in the corner. And that is a beautiful puzzle, Dave. I mean, that's clever. That is just clever. All the way through. Very interesting. I mean, there was bits where I was a little slow, but that's a good half-hour solve for most people, I'd say. I'd be very interested in the times you guys report. Always very interested in everything you say in the comments, to be honest, but we thank you for joining us. We take great pleasure in your company. We hope to see you again tomorrow, and we say goodbye for now.